Huge chance for Arsenal to go 8 points clear, blown tonight at home. But Liverpool were very good in that second half in terms of their shape, their pressing, the winning of the second balls. No goals in the game, but lots to talk about tonight as City kind of get away with one. Arsenal nowhere near the level. They looked a little frightened. They looked poor in that second half. They really failed tonight to hit home a really big opportunity to get a massive advantage of 8 points at the top of the league. A brilliant opening 20 minutes, but it really faded from that point onwards. And Liverpool, I will say, a team that have been poor for large parts of this season, barring the attack, which had none of their main, they had no centre forward, no Mo Salah. It lacked a little bit of potency, a little bit of clinical edge, but their overall play was just maybe, one of the best performances I've seen this season from a Liverpool team. But look, as ever, I want your views, I want your opinions. Please like, share, and subscribe. Gooners, how you feeling? Liverpool fans, how are you feeling after that game? It was a weird one. You don't normally get, I think it's the first time in 10 years there's been a 0-0 draw in this game. And with the quality of football that we have been served up this week, for that to be the sort of centerpiece at the end of it is actually a little bit crazy if we're being honest. But it puts Liverpool firmly into the top four, 2 points clear of Brentford, 3 points clear of Newcastle and Manchester United, and 4 points clear of Chelsea. Arsenal, look, they maintain their 6 point advantage. No points lost. You know, had they drawn to Liverpool on Tuesday, maybe they'd feel a little differently now. But a real big opportunity thrown away. I want your views, want your opinions on this. Can't wait to read what you think and feel in relation to this game. But not a great one. Loads to talk about, but not a great one is my overarching view on this. I'm just setting up a few bits and pieces here because we can't do it until we go live. We're going to do the player ratings. We're going to send a link out for both teams throughout the course of this show. Let me just start the first one and get these set up for you guys. So the first link I'm putting out is for the home team, for Arsenal's player ratings. I've shared that, so I'm going to pin it so you guys can see it. Should be now the pinned comment. Is that the pinned comment? Yes, it's the pinned comment. I'm going to do one for Liverpool as well. I wish they would let you do them for both teams. I'm going to feed that back into the people that make these polls because it'd be great if you could just do both. It means you don't have to set up two. Do your LFC player ratings here. That's shared in the comment section as well. So you can go and do your voting. You can go and do your player ratings now. We'll share them on the screen a little bit later in the show to see what you all thought of your team's performances tonight. This here from Nit says, haven't super chatted in a bit, but Arteta, Saka, Odegaard, Zubi, Rice, Trossard, Gyokeres, Martinelli, awful show. So upset with the second half. We just stopped pressing. No Liverpool player occupied our centre-backs. Pathetic today. Do you know what I feel? There's a really good super chat. That played a big part in it. So not having a centre forward today, what Liverpool, and it took them a little bit of time to realize this themselves, but what Liverpool were able to do is Havertz sometimes went up, but essentially not Havertz, Wirtz, sorry, I'm being stupid. Wirtz was dropping deep. They were then creating a bit of an overload and a numerical advantage, and Arsenal weren't getting to grips with it. And I do agree, the lack of press was shocking. If I'm honest with you, I was really, really shocked by the lack of pressure from Arsenal in that second half, because the opening 20, 25 minutes, Liverpool just looked like they were waiting to lose. Liverpool weren't coming out. They were too afraid to play. Saka was tearing them apart. You were coming really close. The crosses were just missing players or just being cleared, but a goal felt inevitable. And then Liverpool had a good 3 or 4 minutes. They hit the crossbar. And from that point onwards, Arsenal just sort of went within themselves. And often the crowd get blamed at Arsenal, but there was 4 or 5 times that the crowd tried getting them up. They just weren't winning the first challenges. They weren't winning the second balls. Their passing was off. The final ball was either poor. When the final ball was good, players weren't making the runs. I agree with you. I think player for player, overall poor tonight from Arsenal. I don't know about Mikel Arteta. I think he made quite attacking substitutions. I thought that he changed all of his attacking line. He didn't make defensive stuff. Maybe he could have pulled off a defender for an extra attacker, potentially. But then Liverpool were having a lot of the ball. It wasn't as though they were sitting in. So you need to be careful when you're doing that. But I don't disagree. I think it was a really, really poor performance tonight in relation to that. Martinelli red, first throws the ball, then pushes. The Martinelli situation, for me, was disgraceful. I feel that benefit of the doubt, he might not have realised that this is, I suppose, what Martinelli's going to say is so many players fake injury at the end of games. Maybe he didn't see that he was really hurt and just thought he was taking the piss. But we could tell it was bad because watching on the television, you see the way Conor Bradley went down. I don't want to tempt fate here. I'm touching wood. It isn't true. It looks like a cruciate knee ligament injury. The problem is the ball thing, you're not going to get booked for that. He pushes him. There is no rule that says if you push a player that's injured, you get a red card. So they can't actually send him off. But it wasn't a great look for him. I did have this feeling in my gut. I was going, imagine if he got the winner now after doing that. It would really kick off. But it's not a great look for him. If the prognosis and the outcome for Martinelli is poor, then for Bradley is poor, it's going to be an even worse look. But it's bad from him. You can't send him off, though. It's not a red card offence. I don't get why people call Saka world-class. Based on what are you basing that on? Not having the greatest of games today. See, that sort of single-game analysis, what about all the other games recently where he's been brilliant? I don't know. So if a player has a bad game, they can't be like you need to come back, Kenny, and unpack that more for me because I don't quite get what you're saying. Saka had a good 10 minutes, but all the players were poor. Yeah, I think by and large, Arsenal as a collective team today were poor for over the course of the 90 minutes. There is no doubt. It was listen, I want to know why you think. I want to get your opinions on this. It's kind of why we do the show. Why do you think Arsenal was so off it today? Personally, I'm going to give a fair amount of credit to Liverpool. I'm going to give a fair amount of credit to Liverpool who, once they stepped out and played some football, were very good. The only part that let Liverpool down is they just didn't have, if they had a Hugo Ekitike out there occupying the centre-backs today, you put Mohamed Salah out on that pitch, could have been a very different game. That being said, Salah wouldn't have come back and defended, and Hugo Ekitike wouldn't have been dropping into the midfield like Viets, so maybe you're not winning all those second balls. But I like the way Liverpool held on to it today, and it made it hard for Arsenal. Then I do feel there was an element of nerves that crept in for the Gunners tonight. I feel that they were just tentative, hesitant. You could feel an anxiety creep in, which I didn't expect because they were 5 points clear no matter what happened. They could go 8 points clear. And they've been in much tougher games recently with a necessity to win. Far more pressure on them, and they delivered. Just a bad night in the office overall. Martinelli dragging and throwing a ball at a bad injury. Bradley is the reason 100% why no one likes Arsenal. Should have been 2 yellows. Look, none of us saw the ball until the replay showed it, and I hear you. VAR obviously can't get involved in that. I've already said terrible look for Martinelli. Benefit of the doubt, I doubt he knew he was really hurt. I think the biggest learn from this is to tell all of our players to stop faking injury, but they won't. And half the time you don't know if players are really hurt or not. We could see, but by the way he went down, when players drop like that and barely move, it's often a bad sign. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it again. I'll give him benefit of the doubt. I think Martinelli's back was facing the other way. I think Martinelli wasn't looking at the situation, but it's a terrible look for him. I think when he calms down, he's going to be straight on the phone to Conor Bradley and apologising because it was a terrible look. There's no doubt about that. This is what Scholes' big game comment was about. See, but this is the problem with that kind of analysis, because what about the big game against Aston Villa that they won? What about the tough away game against Bournemouth that they won? Ironically, this was a game today that everybody said they would win, and it got discounted as a big game because Liverpool were so poor. And I thought Arsenal would win today. I really did. Every Liverpool fan who's been on the channel, no chance, 3 or 4-0 will lose. So, I mean, yeah, look, they have my pushback against you, Joshua Jack, is they have won some big games this year. They've won more points against teams in the top title race, traditional top 6, and that tough group of away games than any other team in the league. So again, it's a little bit like today is why Saka isn't world class. We're looking at an example of something that doesn't play out unilaterally. What Martinelli did was bad, but why was Gary Neville encouraging Liverpool players to go and punch him? I mean, yeah, look, I get it. I get why Liverpool fans are angry. I think what Martinelli did was wrong, very wrong indeed. But did he know he was really hurt? Is the question. That's the question from me that I would pose if I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't think he was looking. He might have just felt, "Oh, get up. You're not hurt." Players do that quite a lot. But I mean, look, Gary Neville advocating for someone to go and punch somebody. I'm glad Liverpool players didn't, because that would cost them more than it would cost Arsenal, to be honest. If we can't win a game, don't lose it. We still have 6 points clear, and City will go away to United, Spurs and Liverpool in the next few weeks. Enjoy. But this is also the other side of it, which I think is very true. And that is Arsenal didn't look as bad as Arsenal were. They got a point. And as I've said on many occasions recently, Arsenal for me still are a brilliant team. What you'll get tonight is all the Arteta routers, and I'll say this now, and you can timestamp it and send it to any of them that you want, because it's the truth. This is party time tonight. The Arteta routers will be celebrating, phoning the missus. It's red panty night. I'm going to get 100,000 views on TikTok. They're going to love it. And of course, Arsenal's detractors that don't think they can win the league, or, that don't rate them, which is fair enough. You don't have to like them. This is, everything negative I've ever said about Arsenal tonight is proof that I was right. Where I look at it as a bad night that you can criticize. We're going to have fans on criticizing it. You guys are criticizing it. But there isn't no need for an autopsy on Arsenal today. It was a bad day in the office, which they got a point. But it could be a point later in the season that they actually say could be quite good for them. Let's see how this title race goes. It was only a couple of weeks ago less than a week ago that Sunderland and Man City drew. And the world and its dogs had pretty much a good point for Man City. There won't be that energy tonight. And remember, we spoke about that at the time. And just Arsenal need criticism. But this is just party night tonight for everyone who doesn't want Arsenal to win the league, which is, of course, a lot of their rivals. Unless you're a Man United fan celebrating, strange, because City winning the league is bad for us. And of course, Arteta outers and those self-deprecating Arsenal fans. But again, tonight proves nothing. When teams play like this against Liverpool, they are praised for the game plan. Arsenal were not poor. They were nullified. But I agree with you, JT. And this is also the other side of it. I already know without looking, because I've only got the set of super chats up on my screen right now. You've got to rinse Arsenal. And I have criticized Arsenal, and we will go into more detail. But the first thing I said, and only Samuel was backstage, so my panelists wouldn't have all heard this probably, but Samuel did, Liverpool deserve praise. The idea of not praising Liverpool, who were being penned back for that first 20 minutes, were under immense pressure, looked like they were just sitting back waiting to lose, had no answer for 20, 25 minutes. They had a few green shoots of hope. They stepped the back line up, which, by the way, wasn't instructed by Slot. Slot was telling them to get up the whole time. It was Van Dijk on the pitch. Said, come on, guys, we can do better than this. They stepped up. And what they did brilliantly is they pressed Arsenal at the right times. And what they won is that second ball. They just won that second ball so regularly. Their approach play was good. Their exchange was great. Their approach play was top class. The only element Liverpool didn't have, they didn't have any killers in their attack. Gakpo isn't on it at this particular moment. Wirtz, he's just not a striker playing centrally. And Frimpong, you could see he's a bit of a weird player in the sense that he's not a good defender. He's not like a good goal scorer or guy with the final ball, but he's sort of brilliant in the attack. He's sort of, I don't know what you would call him in another sport, but he's not a great defender. He's not a great attacker, but he's really good at getting in behind. But there was times tonight where, again, if it was Salah, he'd have gone at Miles Lewis-Skelly. He would have gone at Hincapié when he had him isolated, and he didn't do it. But I wouldn't blame Slot for that tonight. Because of the injuries, I don't know what more he could have done. Maybe Rio Ingamoa could have come on, who actually beats a man as an example. So maybe you can look at Slot there. I don't know too much about Liverpool's bench. A lot of young players, their fans can educate us. But I do agree with you, JT. A lot of credit tonight has to go to Liverpool. But the problem is when you do that in the modern day world, it's, you just got to rinse Arsenal. And Arsenal deserve criticism. But that just means you're taking away anything good Liverpool did. And I think that's disrespectful. Why Frimpong didn't shoot baffles me. Because he's not an attacker. And this is one of the issues that Man United face with Ruben Amorim with the fullbacks that we have. When we had Ahmad playing fullback and he was in those positions, he would shoot or he'd try and play the right pass. Whenever we had Delo or we had Mazraoui or we have Dorgu or I don't know who else played there for us, Harry Amas did it before, Luke Shaw's done it a few times. The issue is with those players is they're fullback, they're defenders by nature, and they don't have the same killer instincts. Generally, most footballers that have killer instincts end up becoming attackers, not defenders. There's a different mindset to be defensive of something and then there is to attack something. And it's why you see, how many times you see a shot happen, keeper saves it, the ricochet comes, you often see the striker get there before the defender because the mindset works different. Once again, this team seems to fold under pressure, is what Jonathan Kramer says here. Listen, I think it's a fair analysis. I do think some nerves got to Arsenal tonight. There is no doubt. But I've also seen other pressured games in the last 5 matches over the festive period where Arsenal have come through with all 3 points. So I don't think today is proof that, this is it. It means they can't win the league. The same as beating Aston Villa isn't proof they will win the league. It's just part of everything. And the idea, and I keep saying this for weeks, and then Seb's backstage. I'm glad, no, it's not Seb. I think it was Kane that called me out on this. It might have been Seb. I said that most teams this season won't go on mad winning runs. I said no one will hit no mad 10, 15 winning streak. Villa had a really good run, but you actually look at the teams they played in the majority of that winning run. Up until they played away from home, it was barely anybody. But when there's so many hard games, there's so many difficult games, then you're going to have a bad one in that. It's a really hard league. The idea that Arsenal were just going to win their games, all their games for the remainder of the season is crazy. There were always going to be slip-ups. Now, criticize the slip-up. Criticize Rice's performance, Saka's performance. Odegaard was poor today. Gyokeres was invisible. All these things. But I don't think today is 100% proof you're not winning the league. Equally, beating Aston Villa 2 games ago wasn't proof you 100% were winning the league. I think there's balance needed. The elements were crucial to this game. The ball was zipping. Both teams, yeah. Both teams were in the rain. Just want to make sure that's very clear to everybody. Both teams played in the rain tonight. Terry, we paid the favor for City. You did it. Yeah, you guys did that favor. Listen, you don't want to talk that cuck meme isn't going to go away with you guys. They're actually people defending Martinelli's actions because he rolled on the pitch. Absolute clowns. He landed on the line when he got hurt. When I first saw it, it looked like Soboslai said, no, come on the pitch. When I watched the replay, he didn't. He told him to stop moving because it could be bad. And that's why, when a player's hurt and they're rolling round, the fact that referees haven't caught on to the fact that when you're rolling round, you're not hurt is unbelievable to me, Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff. Jeff as in Jeff Sterling, not you, Jeff. You're not Jeff, you're Josh. Because someone who's done sport, suffered terrible injuries, you can't move. I ruptured my knee at the NEC in Birmingham in 2000 and it was the April 2005. I remember. I don't remember the date. I remember the month. It's a Saturday. I was at the NEC competing and it went. And not only I couldn't move, I didn't want to move. The pain was so excruciating. So when I see footballers rolling around, if I was a ref, just put every roll to booking, booked, off, sent off, and I'm filing a report, you cheating bastard. When they're laying still, you know someone's hurt. Paul mid outclass our mid, Gravenberch over Rice. Yeah, Liverpool's midfield today was fantastic. Liverpool's midfield today, they stifled Declan Rice. They nullified Odegaard from pulling the strings. They were just excellent. And I suppose, I don't know what the Liverpool fans are going to say. The one thing that might go through my mind if I was a Liverpool fan is forget the attacking element because they had loads of players missing. A question might be, from 25 minutes until the 90th minute, where has that Liverpool team been all season? Where? Because if that Liverpool team had existed all season, there'd be no one saying slot out. It was really, really good. Really good to that. And again, up against one of the best midfields in Europe. They just got the better of them in that battle. And I think had an Ekitike and Isak and Salah been on that pitch, been on the bench, I think Liverpool win the game. Do you know what Liverpool were today? And don't take this as an insult. It's just an analogy. They had the height. They're 6'3". Good looking, good jawline. The hair's looking great. The job, the car, the six-pack, the banter. Nice scent about them. They've got all the moves. They kiss well. They just can't get it up. Do you know what I mean? Just a little bit flaccid. They just got a problem in that area. It's the only thing they just couldn't penetrate. So everything else, it was like, oh, perfect. But yeah, they just couldn't do that. Perfect from someone that fancies that. it's not my preference. Each to their own, though. Live your life. More power to you. Gary comms are very unprofessional thoughts. Yeah, look, I thought what Gary Neville said, but Gary Neville is what I realized Gary Neville does now on Sky Sports is the teams that he really should theoretically hate as a Man United fan and a Man United legend. He's so nice to them, no matter what. He's just so nice to them. And then there are other times where he just, in fact, though, when he said what he said about the punching thing, that's kind of Gary Neville being Gary Neville. I sort of miss that. It's wrong. It's unprofessional, but I don't like it where he's become a little bit watered down and safe and just, I'm everybody's friend and I'm going to toe the party line. You know, it's just, no, don't do it, but it is Gary Neville. Does that make sense? Terry, if they won, it would have been 8 clear. That's big. Yeah, massive. Absolutely massive. And it's definitely a failure tonight. It's definitely a failure. There is, first thing I said when we started the show, Arsenal fouled. Liverpool stopped them. It absolutely is. But do I think it's definitive proof they won't win the league? No. The same as I said. So what did I say? I did say earlier on tonight, they won tonight. Then I was going to say they were the clear favourites. But I still have them in the marginal category. Because I think this league is really hard. I think there are so many capable teams. I think there are and by the way, people go, the league ain't hard. Well, look, Liverpool are not having a great season. They just beat Real Madrid recently. We've got teams doing very well in the Champions League. We were a very hard league. There's so many teams that can hurt you. Wrong title. Arteta stopped Arsenal and bought Slots more time. All the wrong lessons to be learned from this game from a Liverpool standpoint. I need you to unpack that for me, Hamed. I don't actually know what you mean. And I mean that with respect. I don't get what you mean by that. Welcome to Arsenal, Mark Gahey. Can we talk about Glock 9's 4 touches? Yeah, listen, for me, I've been saying it for a few weeks now. I'm going to timestamp this because I want to speak on this as well. Victor Gyokeres needs to start games on the bench. Victor Gyokeres 110% shouldn't be starting games for Arsenal because you have options. Now, listen, I was saying the same thing actually about Šeško recently, but we don't have any other options. He scored a brace and started to look more confident. Let's see what happens to him in the next couple of games. But Gyokeres looks so devoid of confidence. You have Jesus on the bench. I'm not sure if Moreno was on the bench today. I didn't look. I'm assuming he's fit. If he wasn't, he wasn't. I'd have actually brought him on instead of Gabriel Jesus, if I'm being honest. Mikel Merino was on the bench. I don't think Gyokeres should be starting. I've been saying this for a while, and I believe in this. He should be coming on for the last 15, 20 minutes of games against tired legs. He just looked... He was a passenger. He was a passenger until the second that he came off. I don't think he should be written off. I don't think everyone should call him a flop. I don't think he should be sold because he's not going to make it or do a good job at Arsenal. I just think right now he's drowning. And I know some players like to be played through bad form when they come out the other end. I think he hasn't settled in the Premier League. I don't think he's settled in this Arsenal team and system. And today was maybe the worst I've seen from him. Now, the ball weren't being fed into him. There were opportunities to cross the ball into him, and the ball wasn't finding him. And maybe if a good cross comes in, he buries it at the back post, gets the goal, the confidence goes up. There were a few good. There was one little good touch from him where he knocked the ball out to a teammate, but he just isn't effective. Gabriel Jesus, when he came on, didn't do great, to be fair, but was just far more involved. And I feel that had you started the game with Gabriel Jesus with the way that Arsenal had Liverpool pinned in, I think you might have scored in that period. Maybe that extra player that's actually involved in the attack. But I think Gyokeres needs some time out the limelight. I think he needs to be on the bench. I would start Gabriel Jesus. I know Kai Havertz, he's been training all week. He's close to a return. He can't be rushed. But he is drowning out there right now. And I really do think that he really, really needs help. I think he really needs some help out there. There's no doubt about that to me. Minimum today was a draw. Not a good game for us. I don't want to defend Martinelli, but to be fair, it seems Bradley rolled himself onto the field. Look, I've seen other people in the comments say, yeah, Terry, but after he got pushed off the field, he turned around and moved himself back onto the field again, so he couldn't be that hurt. Look, at the end of the day, let's just say Martinelli didn't know that it doesn't matter. Martinelli is wrong. Martinelli has pushed the man who has probably ruptured his cruciate ligament. And you can't get away from that. Did he know? No, he didn't. But he still did it, and you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't. It's why you get booked for it. It's an offence, right? You shouldn't be doing it. The fact that Conor Bradley looks like he could be seriously... Listen, if it comes out tomorrow, Conor Bradley's fine, and he sort of half-faked it and got the stretcher to make... then, okay, we can reassess it, but I don't think he's faking it. The way he went down, he shouldn't have done it. He really shouldn't. I thought you said Arsenal had won the title. Where did I say that? Where did I say Arsenal had won the title? Where did I show me a clip coming out of my mouth where I said Arsenal have won the title? You may have heard me say, have Arsenal just gone and won the title today? Give me your thoughts. That's called a question, my friend. But if you can show me a clip from the last week of me saying Arsenal have won the league, it's over, it's done, it's finished, I'll pay £5,000 to any charity you want. If you can't, though, you've got to pay. We'll do it smaller for you because I don't know what your situation is. I don't want to assume. If you can afford 5,000, you do 5,000. If you can't, £100 to charity. Abdul, you got 5 minutes to show me the clip. Everyone in the chat, at Abdul, we need to see this clip of me saying Arsenal had won the league and it was over. Or he's got to give money to charity. Let's do it, bro. This Liverpool turn... is Liverpool turning a corner unbeaten in 8 or 9? I don't think so. I think it's too early to say. Up until this, I was quite impressed with large parts of their performances today, right? Large parts of their performances today. But how do I say it? How do I say it's in the right way? If you look at the performances in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 games, it was nowhere near the way they controlled large parts of this game. So I feel for me to think Liverpool and Slot are turning a corner, I need to see another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 really controlled, dominant performances like this. They're not going to play any team as hard to break down as Arsenal again this season. Arsenal are the best in the league at that. That's why they've got the best defensive record. And they will get their attackers back. Then I think we can make that argument. But I get a feeling that Liverpool fans in their heart of hearts know that they're likely to go into their next Premier League game and be opened up, not be in as much control, can see big chances again. So maybe they are, but I don't know if the unbeaten run is as significant as people think it is. A game of two halves. Arsenal had the first, Liverpool had the second. Both teams lacked quality in the final third. Liverpool maybe edged it overall. That's fair. So tired of watching Gyokeres stutter stutter around. A one-legged player could cover more ground. That doesn't have the pace for the English game, is what Clay says here. Yeah, very, very poor today. I agree with you. He's very poor today. Liverpool faking injuries and diving all game. Martinelli sees Bradley move himself back onto the pitch, so he assumes he's faking it. He needs to apologize. Yeah, do I think Martinelli knew he was seriously hurt and still pushed him? No. Is it wrong what he did? Absolutely. A real talk, respect to Liverpool. Get well soon, Bradley. I'm more upset with our inability to take control of the game at home than the draw. On to the next. Yeah, I can understand. That makes a lot of sense, bro. Good matchup this evening. Was hoping for Arsenal to beat Liverpool. Liverpool worked so well defending Arsenal. They deserve massive praise. He is not top 3 in his position, but he has never had world-class season like the players we compare him to. He is just a level below for me. Okay, in terms of Saka, fair enough. Well, that's different than just looking at today in isolation. So I disagree with you, but in terms of, I think he is in that category, but I respect that opinion. No challenge from me. Look at the clown Eze flirting with Frimpong after the game. He brought on to make a difference and did nothing. What do you mean was flirting with him? What, was he tickling his bum? What was he doing? When you say flirt, was he just talking to a friend? Fuck, oh no. Martinelli makes a striker's run. Should have been at the post for Noni's cross. Absolutely frustrating, but every Arsenal fan should have expected a tough game. To be fair with you, I thought Arsenal were going to score a few goals. I thought tonight, this game has not been goalless in 10 years. It typically has 3 to 4 goals per game. Liverpool have scored in their last 20 games against Arsenal up until tonight. So I wasn't predicting a 0-0. I also didn't think Liverpool would be this disciplined and this structured and hold on to the ball so well. Why? Because they haven't fucking done it in 20 odd games this season. They were fantastic. Fantastic. You cook City for drawing versus Chelsea, not Arsenal. I criticised City because they should have killed the game off and made it 3 or 4-0. And they slowly let Chelsea back into the game. And they conceded a last-minute equaliser when they should have seen the game out. So I criticised them. I've criticised Arsenal today. I've criticised them today. But that was a Chelsea team that had just lost its manager, is in a terrible run of form itself, and it should have been killed off. So absolutely. But I spoke about Saka not being good enough today. I spoke for a good 5 minutes just there on the super chat about how poor Gyokeres is and how it's a mistake to be playing him at this moment in time. To name a few. I spoke about the poor final balls, the lack of intensity. I spoke about Arsenal, I think, losing their nerve a little bit in that game and getting a little bit caught up maybe and going 8 points clear and in the emotion of it. I criticise their lack of covering ground. I criticise their lack of ability to adapt to Wirtz dropping into the middle and creating an overload. So my problem here with you, CV, is that you just haven't listened to any of the criticism. You've listened to absolutely none of it. There were Liverpool fan here to speak about Declan Rice stinker. Well, do you know what? Do you want me to speak about a Declan Rice stinker, or do you want me to speak about what I spoke about earlier, which was Liverpool's midfield just being absolutely brilliant? Again, do you want the praise? Because again, Declan Rice stinker says to me Declan Rice was bad. Liverpool midfield dominating the game and nullifying him is about praising Liverpool. What would you rather? Because I don't think the two things are the same, are they? Declan Rice was stopped today by that Liverpool midfield, and they were absolutely fantastic. Every single Arsenal player in that second half especially was well below their standard. I think some of it was the nerves. The touch was off. The passing was bad. But a big part of that, and a massive part of that, as I've said now 3 times in 34 minutes, was because Liverpool were disciplined, they pressed well, and they worked their fucking backsides off. Who knew what hard work could do? And they covered ground and they suffocated Arsenal in every single facet. Now, what I'm not going to do is take this one game and go see, because I know what Don will say on Straight Facts tomorrow. Don ain't watching this. I guarantee you what he'll say. Told you about that Arsenal midfield. What do you mean? So one game this year where they get like outplayed like this, that proves you were right about everything you've said in the last 2 to 3 years. No, I don't play those games. If you guys want to say it, you can say it. I'm not even going to challenge people, but most certainly criticised Arsenal today. Viets was yetted. I believe that was a pen, to be honest. I thought it was would be very, very harsh. There was a little touch. I don't think anywhere near enough to take him down. Plus, his touch was so heavy it was going to go out for a goal kick. I wouldn't have personally given that. There was more, by the way, in the other 2 penalty shouts tonight. So, Frimpong, when his ankle kind of got caught, I thought that looked more a penalty. But also, what I was confused about was the accidental trip up of Martinelli. It was accidental. But Semenyo got booked for the exact same thing 2 games ago in the middle of the park. And yet they're like, no. And do you know what one really made me laugh today? When Gabriel Jesus got given a foul against him for him and Konate holding each other. VAR checked it for a penalty and said, no, it's mutual holding. And what made me laugh is, well, if it's mutual holding, how's the foul gone either way? Referees are shit, mate, I tell you. They're shit, absolute shit shows. Arsenal should do better, but to say it's a failure is mad. Look, listen, I do think Arsenal fouled today. And I do. I think Arsenal fouled to adapt to the way Liverpool were playing in the opportunities they did have. Right, loads in the first half, opportunities, openings, final ball not quite there, shots not quite on target. Even right down to the end, last little bit of the game, not even Madueke puts a brilliant ball across. Someone has got to gamble and go to the line. And right at the end, I think Gabriel Magalhaes should have done better with that header at the back post. But I do think it's a failure. It's a failure today from Arsenal. But equally, I'm taking nothing away from Liverpool. I thought they played really, really well. I have no words regarding Gyokeres. We all have eyes, and most of us have eyes. He's simply incompetent. He's just not a Prem level player, no matter how much Arsenal fans want him to succeed. If Arsenal fail to win the league, this league just run away. Me? No. What would I do? So instead of you coming back, Abdul, with proof I said Arsenal have won the league, you come back and say, if Arsenal don't win the league, just run away. Why would I? I predicted Liverpool to win it at the beginning. And all I've said since Arsenal have been top is they're marginal favourites. And I've said, don't write off Man City. What have I got to run away about? Why? Why would I run away? For saying the team's 6 points clear of the marginal favourites. Weird comment, Abdul. Thanks for the super chat, though, G. No shots on target from Liverpool. I don't call that a comeback. Ray, where I'll defend Liverpool there is the majority of their attack was out. And I just feel, again, Liverpool's problem this season hasn't been when they've got the ball in the final third. They've scored goals. I feel like their biggest problem has been what they did to Arsenal in that second half, holding on to the ball and controlling the game. And they did a great job with that. Bradley attempted to stop the ball rolling back onto the pitch despite being stretched off. Still a yellow card offence. No, come on. The man's probably done his cruise shit. Let's give him some slack, cutting some slack. Zubi let Saka down twice. That's also a great point, Garrett. That pass that would have put Saka in very likely scores. Zubimendi getting in the way. That was a crazy one. Liverpool came for a draw and they got it. No, I think Liverpool were attacking in the second half. They just didn't have the players up top. I think they had, at some point in that second half, I swear they had about 75% of the ball. It ended up with 65%, but they tried. They just couldn't create. They just didn't have creative players on the pitch. These Prem managers are hilarious. Will allow shit teams to ruin their season game on game, then change their style to play when they face Arsenal. Look, but this is the problem with it, though. It's the... Yeah, I hear you, but this has always happened. This has always happened. This is the way football is, you know? And because it wouldn't be acceptable the other way around if Liverpool sat in for the opening 25 minutes at home against Wolves, would it? They've got to be the aggressor because Wolves are also going to sit back. Or the ball's at the centre circle and everyone just sits in their own box. It's just not how it works. It's yeah, I get you. But no. They are too good because... Hang on. They were good because no rubbish Jones today, is what the real McCoy says. And this comment here said, Liverpool played well. Hypocrites, Arsenal, early C attack, injuries, no. F, third, that Liverpool today, 0 shots on target, 0 losses since November. Arsenal win comp games, this forgotten. Bruv, that might be my dyslexia. I don't know. Oh, feeling a little bit ooh with that one, but I appreciate the super chat. Why are Arsenal hypocrites? I would just love to get your view on that. I don't know what you mean by them being hypocrites. I'm looking forward to the panel tonight. The only thing I'm disappointed with tonight really is what a damp way to end the Premier League games before the FA Cup. It's a bit like, no. Do you know what I mean? You know how we were all hoping there was really this secret episode of Stranger Things? Come on, please be there. And it didn't happen. Oh, you know. Although I quite like the ending, to be fair. Ooh, even the private chat's popping tonight. The private chat is popping. Right, people, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm going to bring the panel out now to have their say on the show. In fact, no, I need to player ratings. You guys done your player ratings yet? We had a lot of super chats tonight. What are these player ratings saying? What are Arsenal's player rating? 4.9 for Raya, 5.5 for Timber, 5.3 for Saliba, 5.4 for Gabriel, 4.8 for Nkapie. It's low today. Is that 10, by the way, people? 10. 3.9 for Odegaard, 4.5 for Zubi, Declan Rice with a 5 today, Saka with a 4.8, Gyokeres with a 3. Damn. Trossard with a 4. Jesus with a 3.4. Eze with a 2.9. Gabriel Martinelli with a 3.1. Madueke with a 3.9. I think that was all the subs. Oh, Lewis Skelly 2.7. Jesus Lord. Let's have a little look at Liverpool. Let's see what Liverpools are coming in saying. Oh, Alisson there with a 7.4. Conor Bradley with a 7.8. 7.9 for Konate. 8 out of 10 for Van Dijk. 8.3 for Gyokeres. 7.9 for Gravenberch. 8 for McAllister. 7.4 for Frimpong. 8.1 for Soboslai. 5.9 for Gakpo. They're all really big. And then Gakpo's like, meh. 7.7 for Wirtz. 6.3 for Gomez. And that was it. Liverpool, interesting. Like, Liverpool fans are backing their players tonight. I like it. I wonder if people are going to go back in and start voting these ones up now. No, we've got to go back. We've got to redo them. How many people have voted? There's quite a few hundred people for both sets of votes. Over 400 people on each have voted. So there's a lot of votes. So there we go. Like, share, and subscribe. We're going to bring the panel on that to have their say on the show. Let me move myself across. We have Husam. We have Tom. We have Brandon. We have Anton. We have Ram. We have
twinning.
Here we go. I want to come to you first, Husam, because you laughed yesterday when I asked you the question. Do you think you got a chance of getting a result at Arsenal? You laughed very loudly. How proud of you of your team performance today, and what positive words do you have for Slot for doing such a great job?
I laughed. I promise you. Ask Tom, Rax, Samuel. I speak for them and Ram. The same question. They all laughed because no one expected this. But this was a defensive masterclass today. It was absolutely credit to Arne Slot, of course, 100%. He set us up today to defend. We did not come to the Emirates to play football, of course. Why should we come to the Emirates to play football? Arsenal are much better right now. So we are defensively very good. We are compact. You know, this the midfield and the defense. We all defended as a unit. You know, it's 10 players out of the 11 for me were fantastic today. We'll get to the 11th in a bit, but 10 players out of the 11 were fantastic today. Absolutely incredible performance. You know, I just want to say one thing. There's one player in this midfield. When he plays well, we cook. And that's my little magician, Alexis McAllister. You know, I love McAllister when he's on it. when he's on it, he's really on it. Like, he's fucking amazing. I love McAllister so much. He was only dribbled past like once or twice today. The whole game, he was just defensively solid. Gravenberg as well, next to him in the defensive pivot, was incredible. Those two together were very good from a defensive element, from a defensive perspective. I think they defended really well. Credit to the fullbacks as well. Carragher is a fucking disgrace. I'd rather listen to Neville talk about football than listen to Carragher talk about football 100 times out of 100. Calling Kerkez the Nunes at left back. How dare you? How dare you disrespect Milos Kerkez like that? And you know, this comes back to the scapegoating and how people want to protect their ambassador roles at the club and their, you know, and their exclusive interviews and shit. I defended Milos Kerkez, just like I defend all the players. I don't scapegoat a single player. I think the issue is systematic at Liverpool. And today, Milos Kerkez was not asked to invert. Today, Milos Kerkez was asked to do shit that Milos Kerkez is good at. And guess what? Milos Kerkez looked good. Who would have thought? Me and Tom and Samuel and Rax and Ram and every human being who watches Liverpool with sound intellect and reasoning, we know that we can't scapegoat players in the shit system that we play this season. So Kerkez was phenomenal for me today. Did very well against Saka. I actually looked at FOTMOB. He was only dribbled past once. Did very well against Saka and did very well against Madueke as well. So he was defensive presence. So was Bradley. Frimpong has been our best player, in my opinion, over the last 4 or 5 games. Like, for the last 3, 4 or 5 games, he's been an outlet for us. Now, he should have squared it to Wirtz. He could have found Wirtz and we could have scored. But for me, he's been this offensive outlet where he rapidly gets behind and he tries to create something. Florian Wirtz, for the last 8-9 years, me and Tom Little on the Football Terrace alongside Rax, Ram, everyone. Oh my God, you don't need GA to have a good game to spite Salah. And now the reverse is happening in front of our very own eyes because Wirtz is having good games without getting GA. Again today, the press, the passes, the dribbling, the getting out of tight spaces. Like, he almost played how like a false 9 would play. Now, unfortunately, because the left winger, you know, like, I don't want to see, I'm clarifying something. I am not scapegoating Cody Gakpo. I am not. Okay, I still believe the issue is systematic, but from an individual perspective, fucking hell, what am I watching? You could, you know, do you know that today he won 40% of his aerial duels? Timber's height is like until his armpit, and he still beat him in the air. Like, he couldn't win the aerial duels. He couldn't pass. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't create. He couldn't be an outlet. How the fuck is Frimpong a better outlet when Frimpong's height is until my knee? I'm 6'1". If I walk next to Frimpong will look like my son outside in the street. Like, that's how short he is. And he still was a lot better as an outlet for us than Gakpo. I just don't fucking understand. Like, I just don't get what the hell is happening with Cody Gakpo. I swear to God, it's very frustrating. It's literally 99% positive. And I see people going like, why are you celebrating a draw? Because we're shit. And we just went to the team that I expect to win the league, who are top of the league in their own backyard, without Isak, without Ekitike, without Salah. Of course I'm going to be happy. Of course I'm going to be happy with a draw because Arsenal are much better than us right now. 100 million%. Just like if Arsenal came to Anfield last season, they would have been happy with a draw. This is life. You know, Arsenal 10 years ago when they were fighting for top 4, them coming to Anfield and getting a draw, they would have been happy. This is normal. Us going to the Emirates and getting a draw, I'm not supposed to be upset. I think this was a defensive masterclass by Slot. 10 players all deserve credit, in my opinion. The only slight negative and by the way, just quickly, very important thing. We were not good today because Arteta was a coward and Arsenal were crap. Because you don't have 70% possession in the second half in Arsenal's own backyard by Arsenal being bad. Because even if Arsenal are bad, you still have to be able to pass properly and get out of their press and play in tight spaces and find each other in space. So that is where the manager gets credit, and midfield gets credit, and the players get credit. And just the slight negative for me is Slot 0 substitutions. It's the 85th minute, Habibi. 70% possession. Your son is drowning out there. Bring on Chiesa, bring on Rio, just give me one, just give me like a hope, just a hope, because we were getting hopeful we might get something. Just give me a hope, man. Just fucking one forward that can get past his player. Like, fucking Frimpong is getting past his player by running. That's because he's rapid. But anyway, yeah, great point. Arsenal fans, look, I think regardless, you're going to win the league anyway. So hey, it is what it is. City have drawn three games in a row. So I won't speak for Arsenal fans. If you're upset, you're entitled to be upset. But for me, I'm proud of the team and the manager. I think we defended really well, and I think we played like the red and black wall from back in the day. You can ask Cracks about that. So.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. It's one of those hard ones because it's Liverpool and because it's Arsenal, and we have fans from both sort of in the chat. If you massively go in on Arsenal, Liverpool fans say you're disrespecting us. If you praise Arsenal, people go, you're not ripping into Arsenal enough. And I think there's a combination of the two, but you are right. It was defensively very, very sound. And I feel like if you had 2 or 3 better attackers out there, you would have won the game. And my thought throughout this whole match was, where the fuck has this been all year? All year, like to be this defensively sound, because every team that wins the league or challenges at the very least, typically speaking, you've got to have a very good defense. Don't have to have the absolute best, but it's got to be good. On the flip side here, Anton, what are you saying today about Arsenal's performance? Because first 25 minutes, you had them penned in. It looked like it was going to maybe be a formality at that point, but the longer the game went on, the stronger Liverpool got. And you just didn't seem to have any answers to their questions.
Yeah, look, personally, I got to say that I think this was a massive opportunity that we have blown to really take control of this league. I would have come on here had we won this game and almost called it done. I think the league kind of needed this to happen just to kind of keep it interesting. And I had this feeling at the back of my mind that somehow it might just end up that way. As confident as I've been for the whole week, I was like, something in the back of my mind is telling me that it's not going to go as straightforward as I thought it would. It always seems to be like that. But I actually think that the Arsenal performance, I think there's context to it. What I was kind of saying at halftime, because we definitely did have them penned in. I thought Saka had Gyokeres on toast for a big long period of time in that first 20 minutes, over and over and over again. And I have to say, for the first time this year, I've got some Gyokeres criticism because I felt like he didn't attack the space when the crosses and the opportunities that I've been wanting them to get were there. And I felt that he allowed Van Dijk and Gyokeres to kind of body him and deny him the space. I think well done to Liverpool. I thought it was a defensive masterclass from them in this game. But at halftime, I was thinking this, and I don't know if Husam would agree with this, but whenever Liverpool start to gain some confidence,
just as Sam, fuck the rest of the Liverpool fans here.
No, because I watch Husam. He's a great content creator. He's good at what he does.
The rest of you are shit content creators. I didn't watch you.
But when Liverpool are at the most vulnerable is when they start to gain confidence and the defense starts to press high, and then you put one pass is all it takes. So for me, I felt like Arteta actually wanted Arsenal to stop really kind of being on the ball and being progressive and allowing Liverpool to gain confidence and feel like, hey, we might be able to get something here and leave something in behind. But we just weren't able to execute it. We weren't able to win the ball in the right areas for Zubimendi or for Rice to win the ball in the right areas for us to be able to punish them. I feel like that
did all the correct substitutions, though. In my
opinion, I do as well. Yeah, he brought on
Jesus. Did everything what he can do. Madueke, Jesus, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anybody who's criticizing the second half performance, I'm not going to put that on Arteta. The players need to go ahead and execute it. I actually have criticism for Rice and Zubimendi with the one time actually won the ball, got the ball down the pitch to Madueke, and nobody was there when Madueke was able to cross. That was the concept behind, I believe, what the tactics were in the second half. So it didn't really come off, but I kind of was looking at this and like, you know what, this is there for us to take if somebody's able to go ahead and execute the plan, but it just didn't happen. You have to give credit to Liverpool, though. As Sabazlai said, I think they had the right mentality in terms of like, hey, we're still the champions. They have to earn being the champions, and I think that was kind of what Liverpool came out with today. And you guys didn't have Isak, guys didn't have Ekitike, didn't have Salah, and you guys did the business, I believe, like in terms of what you really should be doing to win a point at the Emirates. I think their criticism for my attacking players, which is why all of them got subbed at the end of the day, and it is what it is. But I don't really think it was that bad of it.
I want to ask you a question. What stopped? Because what stopped for a large period in that second half was getting the ball out to your wide players. And even Noni, when he came on, he only kind of got the ball 2 or 3 times. What was stopping you from moving the ball into those wide areas where you were causing Liverpool problems in the first half? What do you think? Was it something Liverpool did? Was it a lack of quality from your midfielders? What stopped you getting the ball into those dangerous wide areas? Because that was the only real threat you had in the first half. Because Saka in the first 25 minutes, I thought was amazing. And then he just didn't do anything else the rest of the game. Why did that change in your opinion?
Anton, if you don't know, I can tell you after.
I think it was a combination of the two. Like, I think what you said is why Arteta wanted to change the tactics at halftime and try to hit them and exploit those areas. Like, because we were getting such, fruit, like we were being able to get there in the first half, and we were Saka, I thought was good in the first half in times, but in the second half we were able to get there. I felt like maybe Slot played a pretty good defense performance, but I think we got to give McAllister and Gravenberch credit. They denied Rice and Zubimendi the ball. They were brilliant. I thought those were. I know Frimpong looked great, but I think that it was McAllister and Gravenberch today that played a huge part in us not being able to get there. Because all we really needed to do was win the ball in that area of the pitch right before the midway line, get the ball there, and then play something out wide. And we never won the ball when we were able to do it maybe 1 or 2 times, and then each time it resulted in Madueke or Martinelli getting a ball and getting a chance. But then again, there was nothing in the middle. I think Jesus as well, by the way, just as much as Gyokeres should be criticized for not being in the right positions when he needed to be in the right moments. So overall, look, we don't run away with it today, unfortunately, but I still think we're in a really good position. I'm confident that we're going to go ahead and win the league. But yeah, look, this, as you said, Terry, this league can be a humbler. Like that one moment every time. Like we went to Chelsea, had a similar opportunity to really blow it open, couldn't do it then. 1-1 draw. Go to here, Liverpool, and it's like
it is a humbler. But that's also why I keep saying to people, even if you'd have won today and gone 8 points clear, I still don't think it's this case of you're just going to win every game for the rest of the season. There's a lot of hard football matches. I'm going to go back to Liverpool for a minute. I'm going to go to Ram on this one. I'm going to read you a stat, which I've just read now, which is crazy. But I want to ask, but I know you're still proud. This is the first time since 2010 that Liverpool have failed to register a shot on target in a Premier League game, stretching over 600 matches. But yet, there's still quite a lot to be positive about today.
Yeah, it's a weird one because you look at every single scenario that we were going forward, like 15, 20 times, there's always an opportunity for us to cross the ball in. But unfortunately, when you don't have a focal point up front, it's just you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle a lot. If we had like an Ekitike or an Isak to an extent, we would have been a lot more dangerous in the final third. Also, whilst Frimpong was very, very good for us, like, bro, come on. Like, you're running through on goal and you're not bothering to shoot. You're looking to play the sweaty ball. Like, bro, the best thing is just to take a shot on yourself, take some accountability, take some responsibility. We've seen you bury some of these chances for Leverkusen. You just got to do the same thing. That's probably the one thing that I'll be a little bit critical about Liverpool in the final third was there's a lot of delegation, but no real players to be like, I'm going to take this game. I'm going to get the win for us. It was very much like, I'm not too sure we're going to score from here. I'm going to give someone a better opportunity to score. Sometimes it's better just to take it on yourself. But it's a weird one because, like you said, Terry, we're up against, well, not arguably, they are the best team in the league at this moment in time. But the reason why we have a lot of criticism for Slot is because it's all well and good doing it in these kind of games where it's against good opposition, tough opposition, where they will dominate the ball. But you see this a lot when you're playing against the smaller teams, and you can't afford to do that. You can't play this slow, lethargic football against the Leeds, the Fulhams. I was speaking to G whilst watching the game. I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind seeing this football. I don't mind seeing it against Man City or Arsenal, or PSG, or Bayern Munich. But seeing this against your mid-table teams like your Brentfords, Like it's just you can't win football matches like that. You have to show some level.
But you
of
can't.
emphasis.
But you also can't do this because they'll go, yes, they're letting us have the ball for those periods of time, and they're going to. Plus, it's hard. It's a psychological thing as well because I think if you weren't playing Arsenal, if you were away today at Brentford in that second half, you'd have committed an extra man or two forward into those attacks, which would have meant when you lose possession, there'd have been room to run into, and that's also part of the reason that you weren't able to attack. You didn't really get the opportunities today, but also it was hard for Arsenal because you just didn't move. You were just this block, and you didn't come out of it at all. Which a few people in the comments are saying maybe Arsenal didn't try and win the ball because they were essentially trying to wait for you guys to push on so they could counter. I don't know, but it's one of those weird ones for Liverpool today. Again, defensively sound, but not much in the attack.
I think you can't. I think every player on that pitch. I would say Gakpo played his part, Husam. I think defensively, whenever Timber was going up and down the byline, you still got to give him credit. He was still tracking his runner. I don't care if it's the bare minimum. We all know what time it is when we were playing.
You get his cardio and stay, did he? Run up and down the pitch.
Stop it. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. He prevented every single player from going from proving a threat against us.
I think if I gave you 4 months to get fit, you could have done what he did today.
Oh, brother, please just give the guy, bro.
Ram 4 months. Maybe if he's on the jabs.
You gotta give the guy credit, bro. Give the guy credit. I think at the end of the day, every single football player put their heart on their sleeve and they played well today, man. It's just unfortunate we just didn't have a striker. If we had a striker, I think we would have won this game. For me, in my opinion.
I hear you. On strikers, Brandon, what did you make of your striker's performance today in Victor Gyokeres?
Absolutely pony. Absolutely pony.
For everyone that isn't from the UK, pony means pony and trap crap. It's Cockney rhyme. Pony means crap.
I never got that until now.
I saw Anton's face go, I don't know what that means. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no.
I've heard it. I got the context. I just didn't realize actually where it came from.
It's like bottling something. Bottling it means it's bottle and glass, which means arse. When you bottle it, it means you shit yourself out your ass. So bottle, that's where bottle comes from. It's bottle and glass. Yeah, fish. Yeah, that's what it means. Your ass is. Sorry, back to you, Brandon.
Yeah. Let me just say this, right? Before I say what I'm about to say, I want to make this very clear. I agree with Husam and I agree with Anton from the standpoint that I still believe that Arsenal will win this league. Okay. However, let's not get away from the fact that, yes, of course, Liverpool deserves some credit because they executed their game plan to perfection. But just on the Arsenal standpoint and on our performance today, it was disgusting. Nothing short of disgusting, especially in that second half. Especially in the second half. I couldn't believe what I was watching, Tel, right? I'm watching a Liverpool side that have struggled to keep clean sheets and keep the ball out of the back of their net. They've kept 2 clean sheets against us this season, right? And what they've done is they've come up with a game plan where they're not necessarily the all-out attacking sort of free-flowing Liverpool that we've seen over the last few years. They've sit a few, sit deep, don't allow us to play. But the thing that really wound me up was I thought we would have learnt from the first game at Anfield when Liverpool did exactly the same thing. It's no different. Yeah, I thought we would have learnt how to deal with that. But instead, we was worse today. We was even worse today. That first half, Saka was decent. The rest of them were absolute crap, to be honest with you. And then I had a little bit of confidence because I'm watching the manager on the sideline screaming at the players, to push forward. So there's nothing I can really say on Arteta today because I don't believe it's on him. I believe it's on the players. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get into him at half-time. We're going to come out in the second half and be a different team. Liverpool had no outlet. Liverpool had no striker, no recognised striker, nothing to come off the bench. They're playing Frimpong on the right, Wirtz up front as a false 9, Gakpo, who was absolutely, I didn't even see him in the game, to be honest with you. And we allow them to bop it around us in the second half. What are we doing? Why are we sitting back and allowing them to have the ball? is on us. We're at home. Yeah. We've just watched Man City draw and drop points. We've just watched Aston Villa do exactly the same thing. What more fucking incentive do you need to take this game to Liverpool? And who's getting after them? Yeah, our press was absolutely non-existent today. It was shocking. Every time Odegaard went to press, nobody else was following in. Nobody else was following in, right? Odegaard, pathetic on the ball. I've said this time and time again about, our midfielders. If we're struggling to break down low blocks, have pot shots from outside the area. Who did that today? Absolutely nobody, right? And then Mikel Arteta. The one criticism that I have for Mikel Arteta, not brave enough with his substitutions. Once again, yeah, we're doing like for like things. We're taking off Odegaard. Fair enough, didn't have the greatest of game, and we're bringing on Eze, like for like sub. Yeah, we're taking off Trossard, bringing on Martinelli, like for like sub. Taking off Saka, bringing on Madueke, like for like. How about do something a little bit different, Mikel? How about take off Zubimendi? Yeah, because he was just slowing the game down for us. Let's just be honest about it. Put Declan Rice in his 6 because he wasn't doing nothing going forward. Yeah, he wasn't doing his box crashing like he normally does for us today, right? Put him in the 6, bring on Eze and play Odegaard together and see if you can create something from that. I have no issue with the Madueke substitution and the Saka substitution because Saka did absolutely nothing in that second half. Same for Trossard, right? And then obviously Lewis Skelly comes on. It's a forced substitution. But you've got to try and do something different. It's not working, right? And instead, I'm looking in that second half, Liverpool retaining the ball, yeah, which we know Liverpool have got very good players. They can retain the ball if they want to. And then the whole build-up from outside, from the back, which Arsenal are very good at normally, just totally disappeared in that second half. I'm watching David Raya playing long balls, yeah, which is Konate and Van Dijk's bread and butter, by the way. And we're expecting Gabriel Jesus, who's about 5 foot fuck all, to win headers against Van Dijk and Konate. I'm like, what are we doing? Our most threatening players in the first half was down the wings. Not only once or twice in that second half did we manage to get it out wide and take Gyokeres on and the fullbacks on. And we're just playing in the same areas of the pitch that Liverpool, that make it easy for Liverpool, and we expect different results. We're not moving the ball quick enough. I'm sick and tired of this with Arsenal, right? Every time we face a low block, it's slow, it's lethargic, it's just crap. Like, move the ball quicker. That's the only way you're going to move players out of position. Every time it's like 2-3 touches on the ball. Move it quickly, one touch.
Brandon, listen, I hear your frustrations on that and the substitutions. Does anybody else agree, or the Arsenal fan agree or disagree? Could the substitutions have been more attacking? Could you taken some more defensive-minded players off and kind of gone for broke a little bit more? What do you think about that, Sulz? I see you nodding, or Seb, either.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it. I think the game's on Arteta today. I know a lot of people don't want to blame or call out the manager, and it might be shocking that I'm the one calling him out, but I am going to call him out today because it's the first, well, not even the first time, this is now several times where he's not shown the balls to go for a game. Now, the game that I refer back to, and I want people to understand, is St. James's Park. 1-0 down, what does he do? A defender comes off, he brings Odegaard on, turns it into a 3, and goes, let's go fucking go for the win. Right? That's what I needed from Arteta today. You lost control of that game. You are the man who can change it. The players on the pitch that you like, that are your favourites, that you're relying once again upon, that are failing you, because that's what they did today. They failed you. And you still relied on them until the 80th minute. He started showing improvements this season where he's making earlier substitutions. I'm like, shit, this might be a sign of things to come. But the minute the pressure's back on us, where City are dropping points, Villa are dropping points, any of our other title challenges are dropping points, he's reverting back to becoming the manager we've told him not to be. Be brave. Because you know what? This is the opportunity where, even if, I can back it. A lot of people here saying, if he hadn't done that, where he put Rice into the 6, Eze, Odegaard, maybe put Jesus instead of Hincapié, gone to a 3-back and gone for the game, a lot of people, even if we had dropped the points and gone through, people would have praised it to go, do you know what, at least he showed bravery to go for the win when things are going against us. And
you
that's
think
the reality.
You think if Arsenal lost...
I don't know. I think I kind of really disagree with that.
Sorry, let me jump in because I haven't heard from Seb yet. Seb, you disagreed as well. Come back to you in a second, Anton. Seb, you disagree with that as well? I muted you, by the way, because there's a lot of background noise earlier from someone. Sorry.
No, I don't think really any of this is on Arteta, to be honest. They were getting so much joy down the right-hand side. Dropping down to 3 at the back would have been even worse. To be honest, the bit that's frustrating me today is I think a draw against Liverpool is not the end of the world, especially because Man City dropped points. So to me, as the title race goes, this weekend just didn't happen. The bit frustrating for me is the intensity in the second half just completely dissipated. It was kind of like we didn't want to come out our shell. It was confusing because other games this season where it's come in the second half, we score most of our goals in the second half, we up the intensity. But today was just the opposite. It was like Liverpool don't have a threat up there, so I don't get why we were being so cautious, because it's not like if we push players up the pitch, they've got an Ekatike to run in behind or anything like that. So that's what frustrated me the most. I think most of it was on the players.
Arteta should have got the players to be a bit more brave and made braver substitutions to push the game forward.
He made substitutions at the 60th minute. He went early. It wasn't like he left it late. There were still attacking subs. Martinelli's more attacking than.
No. Can we agree though, Seb, that they're like for like substitutions?
Yeah, they're still like for like.
But they're different types of players, though.
Yeah,
Eze and Odegaard are not the same player. Martinelli and Trossard are not the same player.
What we needed this game was to ask more questions in their box. We were putting the crosses into what we needed. Pinpoint 100% accuracy for our play. Do you know why? Because we had one player in that box.
Wait. But you think Liverpool is going to sit back and let that happen? Like, you discredit Liverpool when you say that. This is a team that was favored to win the league at the start of the season.
Do you know what box crashing does? It disrupts their defense. When you're putting a cross in and you've got one player in that box, what happens? You've got no one to cross to. Because Ash, the striker that we've signed, is hiding behind Konate, hiding behind Van Dijk, and then getting beat to the head. So what we then need is to ask more questions in the box, get a Rice, get them in, get the numbers in the box, and that's when you can then start doing your crossing game.
I don't think that was the problem. I don't think taking off midfielders necessarily would have been. We were losing control in the middle of the pitch. We needed more creativity on there. I don't think necessarily taking the defender off. As I said, they were counter-attacking really well. They had pace down the side. I don't think gone to a free back would have. I think we looked a lot worse when Lewis Skelly came on, just because Lewis Skelly's not a good one-on-one defender. Like he was bad when he came on. Like Frimpong cleared him. We were just lucky that Liverpool couldn't finish any of their chances. But for me, that's what's frustrating. It was like there was just no intensity at all. We're not pressing high up the pitch. We sat back deeper. And it was just like, it was just, we had the talent on the pitch. I think when you're saying the last few game weeks, he's made positive changes and we've seen that. He's made pretty much the exact same changes last 3 games. He always brings Martinelli and he always brings Jesus on. So it was the exact same changes that we had before. I don't think making us less stable at the back would have solved anything. Against Newcastle, we were 1-0 down, which makes sense going all out because you're not losing anything. It was 0-0.
I want to add to this debate. Rak, you were going to say something a minute ago. From a Liverpool perspective, what side are you looking at this from? Do you think they should have taken off defensive players and been brave in that regard, or do you think it was right to keep their own structure against you? Which decision do you think was the correct one?
I mean, there's positives and negatives of both. I can understand both arguments, but ultimately, Arteta is Arteta. He's not going to do that, especially not in a big game. He's not that kind of manager. Arsenal is a very, very good team built on solid structure and discipline. It would be what's the saying? A leopard never changes spots. Like, especially not in a big game like that. It's not going to happen. So it's the Arsenal. It's the Arsenal everybody expected. And I know there was talk this, let's go out and smash them and, show them and win this title and blah, 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 blah. But
Egal said it's like facing Spurs.
Tottenham. He needs to answer for that.
Arsenal fans get giddy. We know Arsenal fans get giddy. We know that when they come to these games, we say,
why are you saying it in a way like someone who's not here? Egal is here, brother. You're saying it in a way like some random guy.
It's not even about the result.
Arsenal fans in general do also do this.
Can I just let Rak finish your point for a minute, please, guys? Sorry, then I'll come back to you guys. Sorry, Rak.
I've said this before, right? I don't think any fan base is particularly worse than others, and in most cases, like you can pick out individuals, but like we get giddy. I remember that we were winning game after game after game. We won 17 games in a row. Went to Man United, drew, and then won 18 games in a row, right? and that wasn't a very good Man United team. But sometimes we were like, yeah, let's go to Man United and let's smash them and blah blah blah. It didn't happen. Sometimes these things happen, especially in big games against big rivals. So, but ultimately,
no, but certain.
Yeah, but hang on, it's not.
You have earned right to go.
Sorry,
to
I
any
felt
game.
this. I felt
Rak,
like
it's not even about the result, though, Rak. This is the thing. It's about the performance. I mean, look at today's game, right? Liverpool came to the Emirates. Husam said it, to not play football, yet you guys had the 2 best chances of the game. Yeah, Bradley.
Gabriel scores
the thing
in the
is, though,
corner.
right?
Tell me how many times we tested Alisson to make him make a proper save.
No, I know, but I think the thing is, it was a decent performance by us.
Brandon, can I ask you a question just on this bravery thing? Sorry, Rak, I apologise. If you'd have taken off the defensive players, gone for broke, and lost to a counter-attack goal, if that happens again in the future, you go for it and you lose to a counter-attack goal, will you sit here and say, I'm proud of the fact we went for it, or will you condemn the loss?
Well, again, we're talking about what are you talking about when you say defensive players? I'm not confused now.
So, for instance, I'm just suggesting some, if you'd have taken off Zubimendi, he's a defensive-minded player, he's a defensive player. If you took off Zubimendi, or you took off you went 3 at the back and you took off a defender to throw on more attackers, if you'd have conceded a goal on the counter-attack late in the game, would you be saying, I'm pissed off to lose, but fair play for being brave? Or would you have said, or would you be saying, no, we shouldn't have taken that risk? Would you rather lose trying to win or take draws like today? Like, I'm just trying to ascertain where you're. Because, for instance, me as a United fan at home, I'd rather take the risk and try and win. That's me.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
And that's fine. I'm asking where you sit on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather lose trying something different and trying to win. At the end of the day, like we'd already lost control of the midfield anyway. And Zubimendi and Odegaard are 2 players in particular that are supposed to bring control to our midfield, right? Well, Zubimendi weren't doing that. And defensively, yeah, okay, he's all right defensively, but if you drop Rice into that 6, it's going to be no difference anyway. And as we've already pointed out, Liverpool didn't really have an outlet, didn't have an attacking threat anyway. So there's no reason why you couldn't have took Zubimendi off, who wasn't giving us the control in the midfield we needed anyway. Throw on Eze and play Odegaard alongside as well. Try and get a bit of a tune out of the two.
I think we would have ended up getting that outlet. We had an outlet in Frimpong. We just had to play Ovies.
They're ignoring that. They're ignoring that.
That's what.
I'm not ignoring.
Got behind so many times, but he just could not cross the ball.
Yeah, I'm not ignoring the fact that
I'm being honest, man. The guy just didn't do anything. When he needed to shoot, he was pass.
I'm not arguing that he wasn't poor in the final third. I'm saying that we had that outlet, and if you take a defensive man to play it off.
But the reason why I brought up the 3, the reason why I brought up like be a bit braver, the reason why I'm bringing it up, if you had Ekatike or Isak or this was at Anfield, I wouldn't be saying it. But the reason why I'm saying it at home is I firstly, number one, do actually think these defenders can defend. And I'm saying keep Timber, Gabriel, and Saliba on. That's more than competent enough between them.
This is where I disagree, right?
With Rice in front as well.
I've kind of thought about this.
You can disagree in a moment, right? The reason, because that is competent enough. And also, if you put Rice into the 6, he used to be a centre-back anyway. He's more than solid defensively. What that then does is it pushes them back. So these counter-attacks that you're talking about, it pushes them back. It asks them a different question. It then brings more threat because we didn't have the numbers forward. We were bringing crosses into no man's land. So sometimes in a game, you have to take a risk. And then guess what? Go for it. And if you feel like you can't get that goal or you're risking too many transition, you can bring that bring that left back on and Miles Lewis-Skelly or whoever it is that you wanted to bring on. You can always do that, but be brave in certain situations and sometimes change your philosophy when you have no control anyway.
I hear that. Anton, very, very quickly, because I'm running out of time. Final word on that, and then we're going to go to the Liverpool fans and then they go after.
As you guys have been talking, been kind of actually thinking about it, the substitution that should have been made is not changing to a back 3. I would actually have brought on Ben White instead of Miles Lewis-Skelly, shifted Trossard out to the left because that's where we were getting exposed. Frimpong was their main outlet. You should have put Trossard on that side and let Ben White play out on the right-hand side. And I felt that Arsenal probably would have been better balanced. But the idea, Timber out on the left, switch Timber to left back and put Ben White out to right back instead of bringing on Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Well, I do feel like
when Lewis-Skelly came in there, that's when we lost control of the game. But to be fair, and this is where I'm gonna rebut you, I'm not gonna take too much time. in terms of like that first half performance, it would have been 0-0 had we stuck to the way it was in the first half. Arteta felt like I got to find ourselves more gaps in the defensive areas of Liverpool, draw them out a little bit, give us more space to run into, which is why he conceded the possession. If he would have just kept going on and on and on and on, Liverpool would have just denied us throughout the whole game, as they did anyway. But it was worth trying something different in terms of drawing them out, regardless of who was available for them, to be able to allow us to get space. Because as Brandon said, we were struggling against the low block again. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to do our best against a team that's got pride to get the low block removed.
Okay.
Just real quick, Kel, just real quick. I agree with that. Yeah, and that is maybe something that we'd implemented that was different. But the press in the second half was pathetic. You can't just allow Liverpool to bop it around in the way that they want.
That's factual.
You're absolutely right. Sam, because I don't have too much from you tonight. What did you make of your Liverpool tonight?
The team did me proud today. It's frustrating because we haven't seen this all season, but funny enough, it actually proves Slot's point. Because the way Arsenal play, they play ball to the ground. So McAllister and Gravenberch were having a field day because it was ball to the ground. They were staying compact. They ran the midfield. But listen, Liverpool stayed compact. We did what we needed to do away from home. I didn't want us opening up. I didn't want us giving Arsenal chances, and we didn't do that. Well done. And that's credit to Slot. Now, my thing today, the big difference, and I think Arteta didn't see this, was what me, Tom, and the rest of the Liverpool fans have said all season. Gravenberch stayed back. That's why Arsenal struggled through the middle. Because if you've seen other games, Gravenberch has gone forward, and that's on Slot's instruction, which has been said early in the season. And we've been cut through so many times where players will get in behind and they're just up against Konate, sorry, I was about to say Saliba, Konate and Van Dijk. And then we'll be conceding out of that. But because Gravenberch stayed back and McAllister was helping out as well, Arsenal were not finding any joy in the middle and they had to go out in the wings. Now, first of all, I want to give a brilliant shout out. Gyokeres was absolutely brilliant today. He was getting ripped in the 20 minutes. After that, he had Saka in his pocket. After Saka had to come off. And then when Madueke came on, yes, Madueke had that one cross where, I can't lie, somebody should have gambled, but he dealt with it well. And Gyokeres attacking as well, brilliant. We did have an outlet. It was Frimpong. Now, my problem with it is that I don't think Frimpong had the confidence enough to believe in his shot. But I'm gonna say, and Tom's gonna remember this. Remember when Bayer Leverkusen played us at Anfield and we beat them 4-0? But in the first half, Frimpong scored that offside goal. Why did you not do that? Same position.
To be fair, he didn't have an option for that goal. So he can't take it on his own.
Fair, but
the problem he had in that moment, because I know the moment you're about in the game, Wirtz is in the correct position.
Yeah.
But Saliba gets a slight touch on the pass. If Saliba doesn't get a slight touch on the pass, Wirtz is one-on-one with the keeper, 12 yards out, and he's going to put that in the corner. No doubt in my mind about that. So again, he's made the correct decision. It's just unfortunate. My big gripe with Frimpong today was crossing was wank.
Yeah.
Every single cross was just on the floor. And we were all at the back post.
And Conor Bradley's crossing was
I don't think Bradley put a cross in. He hit the bar, but I can't remember him putting a cross in. It was more Frimpong was bombing on, and Conor was staying back. I think that something that hasn't been spoken about here is Arne Slot, and I've been very critical of Arne Slot, but he absolutely nailed tactically tonight how to exploit Arsenal's one problem. They don't want Gyokeres getting the ball because he doesn't. He's not. Everything sort of dies.
Involved in play.
Everything sort of dies if Gyokeres gets the ball outside the box. Also, so all we done was we told the wingers to track their wing backs, man mark them out the gate wherever they went. We went. That's why Frimpong and Gakpo were playing at centre backs at points. Our wing backs would mark your wingers, man mark to death. The midfielders would each rotate with who they're going to man mark. Sometimes it'd be Soboslai, sometimes it'd be Gravenberch, sometimes it'd be McAllister. At different points in the game, every one of your midfielders was marked by a different person. And we basically just went, the only guy you've got unmarked is either your centre-back partner or your striker. And they refused to play it to the striker. So all you would do is you go out wide, find out it's man v man, and we'd win it back. Or you'd play it into the striker, and Konate or Van Dijk would just bully him, and then we get the ball back. At the end of the day, Slot's got a lot tactically wrong this season, but he played the system today, the 4-2-4 with 2 false nines that tactically outclassed Man City last year. I've been crying for it to be used more often. He plays it today. What's it do? For the most part, by the first 20 minutes, which I think was by design, to sort of just figure out where we are in the game, it tactically outclassed Arteta's system. Is it great football? No. But I guarantee you, hand on heart, we win a football match if we've got a striker. If we have one of our 3 best attackers available in this game, we win that game. Because some of them chances that we didn't end up going for, because it's a right wing, it's a right back at right wing, an 8 as a 10, and a left wing who just could not get involved in the game.
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. But at the end of the day, my manager's unbeaten against your manager.
What I do want to know though is, Egal, how was the game today, Arsenal versus Tottenham?
Listen, my point was I've never felt more confident going into a game versus Liverpool at home because of the way that they were playing this season and everything else. But little did I know that we were going to have that kind of performance and they were going to show up in the way that they did. So fair play to Tottenham, or should I say Liverpool in this situation? Because I did
shameless, Egal.
It did come off as they're the inferior team, and they knew that, and they played to their strengths. They did what they needed to do. They got the result that they wanted. At the end of the day, they didn't win the game, but they did what they were the better team. They deserved to win. We didn't play nearly as good as we usually would be playing. And
we didn't deserve to win. A draw was a fair result.
Fair, if you want to say that. From my perspective, I did not think we gave a good enough of account of ourselves to go on and get what we needed from that game. And you know what? It's another game where we get a draw, and it's just like it's a missed opportunity, a disappointing performance. And there's so many little individual players you can pick out. But the thing that was the most glaring issue for me was, forget about the substitution. When Miles Lewis-Skelly came on, I love the kid, but his performance in that second half was worrying for me.
He was getting ripped by Frimpong. Ripped.
That performance in the second half was worrying for me, because I don't know if it was Frimpong's skill set was just he was not capable to keep up with him, or if he's just off the pace, because he wasn't making passes, and just the whole system was looking shaky without Calafiori there and Hincapié getting injured. If Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be looking like this, I'm going to be a little bit concerned going forward. I know you guys were speaking about Saka and other players, but I'm not too worried about them right now. The player I'm looking at is, of course, Gyokeres. I need more from Gyokeres, but I also need more of a game plan to try to find ways to get the best out of our attack. We can't constantly be just doing the same things. We're constantly playing through the wide channels. We're not doing enough to play through the middle. We're not doing enough to change it up. That horseshoe comes back whenever we face a situation like this. And we did get away from the ball and tried to give Liverpool the ball and change the tactics, but it didn't work. And at the end of the day, when our game plan doesn't work and we don't score a goal by the 60th minute and it's 0-0, it's always going to be a tough game. Fair play to Liverpool. I've been truly humbled in this situation. Maybe I shouldn't be talking, but in my opinion, confidence. There's nothing wrong.
Talk your talk, Egal, man. Never back down.
Wrong with being
Egal, completely. Me and you are in this together.
Your team. I was wrong today. I could be right tomorrow.
None of you have been humbled as many times as Egal has been humbled in the past. So
it's a bit different. But on that, where I'm going to defend Egal, I can't speak for every Liverpool fan in the world, but every Liverpool supporter that came on this show laughed at the idea of even getting a draw today. So let's not pretend it was just Egal that was predicting.
He called us Spurs.
Yeah, okay, right. He's gone. He's maybe gone a little bit too far.
The confidence going into the
game. I get ya.
Use a different example. Say they're Aston Villa.
Let me bring it back.
Third in the table.
Let me bring it back. My main issue with today's performance, I've already mentioned. You guys have an issue with what I said. Guess what? I got a prediction wrong. People get predictions wrong all the time. If we move on, right? My main thing is, are now people saying, "Oh, you need to be humble. You need to change how you think about Arsenal"? No, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to.
If we played, okay, go on. I've got something to say though.
I still believe Arsenal's going to go on to win this league. I still believe this is a moment. This is a moment in the season where a lot of people have been dropping points. You see every single original top 6 team drop points this weekend. Every single one of us. So I don't think it's a situation where we should be looking at the league and saying, "Oh my God, this is a dramatic moment in the season. This game." No, it's not.
No, but it was a chance for us to blow it open, and we didn't do it.
Agree
and we can still do it
win the league
next week.
Yeah, let's go to Rak. Sorry, Rak started talking. Sorry, go on, Rak.
I think most people agree that Arsenal definitely the favourites. I've been, Egal, you know, just even when you've had the ups and downs. After Liverpool dropped off, I think I said that Arsenal, I think, are going to win the league because I don't see City. I just don't trust City enough.
They're not consistent enough.
Yeah, they're not consistent, and I trust Arsenal more because they'll just find a way to win most cases. But the problem is, if we played exactly this game again tomorrow, Mikel Arteta would do exactly the same thing. He wouldn't approach the game any differently. And what you may say that's a strength, or you may say that's a weakness. Some of you, you just. But that is Arsenal. This is how Arsenal is under Arteta. He won't change,
spot on,
and
here.
You have to hope that that's going to be enough to get you over the line.
That's why I'm coming on here and I'm explaining to you the thought process behind what Arteta is doing, rather than being like, "Oh, this wasn't good enough." I'm trying to tell you what he's trying to do, and Rak is telling you exactly like he is never going to change. That is the way that he's going to approach these games.
Yeah.
And you guys seem to be surprised every single time.
I hear that. I got a super chat from Abdul that came back to us from earlier, and he said, even if we go 10 points clear, we don't have the manager to win the league anytime soon. Not this season. I will donate $1,000 to this channel if he does.
That's lazy.
No, that's brilliant. Get it.
Wait, you did donate $1,000.
First of all, everyone, slow down for me. Hang on. Let's get his screenshotted, please, KJ. Let's get his at. Someone click onto his YouTube channel. Send me the link. Find out if he's got social media so we can track him down, right? Because that, you know, I mean, that's a lot of money, my bro. But we'll see.
Hey, just got $1,000 richer.
Can I tell everyone one thing though? This festive period, Arsenal.
Not after tax. And YouTube takes this cut. It's about £5 after tax, and YouTube takes this cut.
This whole festive period, Arsenal. This is the first drop points we've had the whole festive period.
No, that's what I'm saying. One game at a time. I'm calm. We go again. We shake it off.
But this is just it. I said it earlier, and I'm going to go to Seb. I'm going to cut the super chats and go to Seb. My thing this whole time has been Arsenal should be criticised for today. But what I'm not going to get dragged, you guys can say what you want. That's the point of the panel. The comments can say what they want. That's why they're open. What I'm not going to do is get dragged personally into this. See, today's proof they can't win. So that means the Aston Villa game is proof they will win. It's this. I just think it's bad. I just think it's shit content. I just think it's shit content that after every game to do a brand new autopsy and look for a brand new conclusion every time. You can just talk about today's game. Just today's game in isolation, more so. Now, if you're someone that never believed you're going to do it, I sort of understand it more, but it's the up and the down. Those people will disappear for 10 games when they're winning, and then they lose one. See, this is the problem. Whilst being 6 points clear, it's just boring. It really is. This here says, if I'm Ibu or Virgil, I'm taking the red card. I hope they leave one on him in the next game. I'm going to be honest again about the Martinelli situation. It's wrong what he did. My personal belief is he had no idea he's probably just ruptured a cruciate ligament in his leg. It's wrong what he did. I'm not defending it. At the same time, if you believe, I don't believe he knows he's got a bad injury. That's my personal feeling here. And this stems from players feigning injury on both teams, at every club, in nearly every game you play. This is why this has happened. So the bigger message from me is football players need to stop faking injuries, and this would never happen. That doesn't mean Martinelli's right. If you hear what I'm saying as a justification, I'm sorry to say this so harshly, you need to get off the internet and start get an education, because that is not what I'm doing, is defending him. At the same time, I do not believe he knew he was badly hurt and pushed. Like if his bone was sticking out his leg, I don't think he pushes him. But anyway, moving on.
That's a fair take. That's Terry. I think
wrong.
that was
He rightly feel he got booked. He didn't know he hurt his knee.
Even Slot came out and said that.
Oh, Arnie Slot. Yeah, of course he has. Of course he has.
I mean, to be fair, the whole game, Szoboszlai is rolling around the floor. Frimpong's rolling around the floor, and it's the last second of the game. They're thinking that it's a tactic to trying to waste time. They're trying to get a throw in quickly, and he thinks that Connor Bradley's faking it. But how does he? He's not a doctor. He's not supposed to know if he actually had a bad injury because based off the evidence of the whole game.
But regardless, he shouldn't. Regardless whether he does or doesn't know, he shouldn't do it, right?
No, 100%. No. Yeah, 100%. But I'm just saying that he didn't know. He didn't understand what was going on.
It wasn't malicious. He's not that malicious. Like, he's not got an evil streak in him that he's done this multiple times. But yes, we should condemn his actions. And also, we should condemn what Neville said, because I don't agree that you should start beating the shit out of players just because.
But sorry to interject. Sorry, Sol. This is what Arnie Slot has just said, the manager of the player. I don't know Gabriel Martinelli, but he comes across as a nice guy. The problem for him, and it's a problem in football in general, is that there's so much time wasting in the final parts of games that sometimes you can be annoyed when you want to score a goal and you feel a player is pretending to be hurt. I'm 100% sure if he knew what the injury might be, he wouldn't do that. And that is the honest truth. And for me, I don't even know yet. TalkSport are going to go crazy on this. I'm sure right now that Jason Cundy and what's his name, O'Hara, are going to talk about this like as if it's a murder that's just been committed and it's the most heinous crime in the history of the world. I guarantee you. But what Arne Slot has just said, and when Liverpool fans calm down about it, and I get why they're angry, they're defending their own, they're going to understand it as well. Nobody knew that he was that hurt. Now, the Liverpool players that came from behind saw, because they saw the way he fell. That's it. We saw as football fans watching, because the way he went down, we all knew it was a bad one. You can tell by the way he laid there. But I swear, if you watch it, Martinelli's not looking. Everyone's got to calm down a bit on that for me. Well done, Arnie Slot, for being sensible.
You know what is right? Most people are right? Most people are decent people. If someone falls down on a football pitch or not on a football pitch, and they think that person has genuinely hurt themselves, they're not going to go around, throwing their weight around and acting like an arsehole, basically.
I agree. The result should not be surprised to anybody. Sorry, remember that Liverpool could not beat Arsenal last season and still won the league. Bradley never went off the pitch lying for an excuse. Exactly, Brandon. But a good manager does that not crap manager, brother. Not forget our last name is Bottlers, is what he's saying.
It's the
there.
same guy who owes you $1,000 now.
If you win the league. If we have Calafiori, who has more attacking output, is available, if Eze is subbed in earlier, if Hazard is fit to play, we would have won the game. We can play if game 2. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
We're here to analyze the game and give our opinion.
As David, I know he's not coming on the terrace as much anymore, but he started the season by going mad about if buts and maybes, and then spent the last 3 months talking about if buts and maybes. It's part of the game. Seb, overall, there's a lot of disappointed Arsenal fans tonight. Where'd you head at with it all, Seb?
I'm a relatively optimistic person. I said on the top 6 show we were going to drop points. Anyone who was expecting us to go the rest of the season and not drop any, I think it's a good game. I know there was an opportunity to go further in front, but the fact that City have already dropped off, they're looking dodgy. It's not the worst 1 point. It's not the worst draw in the world, which is why I'd rather have retained solidity and not conceded a goal. I'd rather keep. That's just my mentality on things, really. I think the first half we were really good. That's what disappointed me, because we showed that intensity in the first half. It did help that Liverpool were all over the place. I don't know what they started off really weirdly. They had no shape there whatsoever. But the problem I had in the second half was obviously when Liverpool were ramping up the pressure, putting crosses in, we were just hoofing it back to them. So it was just a constant rotation of that happening. We needed to settle the game down. The leaders on the pitch should have gone, let's settle this down, regain some possession and push them back slowly, which is what we usually do and what we're so good in games. I do think Arteta adapts. I don't think he's so stuck, because that lineup against against Bournemouth was very much on, we know Bournemouth are going to try and hit us in transition. We're not going to have as much of the ball, so we're going to try and hit him on transition with Madueke, etc. Which is what I think when he tried to bring on. It's not it's not an accident where he brings on Martinelli, Madueke on the wings, who are going to drive forward a lot more. Whereas obviously Trossard likes to cut in. He likes to one-on-one dribbling. So it's not a coincidence, but it's more frustrating that the intensity completely dropped off in that first half. You got to give credit to Liverpool. They helped do that. It was just more disappointing that because it was on the 60th minute. I remember Gary Neville saying Arsenal are probably going to pick it up. They're probably going to regain a bit more of the ball. This is just a short period of the game. And we just didn't. We just were happy just to sit there and try and counter on them, which I guess was a tactic from Arteta. But I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not showing that we have poor mentality. Particularly, I think the player ratings before the stream happened were we're getting 4s and 5s, and they were all getting 9s, and 8s. It was meant to be
one shot on target.
What are you doing? Like Raya got a 4. He didn't have to make a save all game, so I don't get what else he was.
Although he almost gave them.
But it was just like they didn't have much. Liverpool didn't have much threat to them, which is lucky for us. So. But I think we could have done more. It's not the end of the world. I still think we're in the league. We're still 6 points clear, by the way. So it's not like we've dropped off, which is why I think the draw was better than a loss. But overall, I wasn't too happy with the intensity in the first half. I was really angry with Martinelli. When I recorded my TikTok reaction, I was fuming. I said it was pathetic from Martinelli. Because I think regardless of if he knew he's injured or not, he shouldn't be pushing him. I don't care. It's petulance, really. But it's just like this all would be different if Gabriel just scores that at the back post at that corner. None of us would have sat here moaning at all.
I know.
So it's just like it changed the context. I agree with Arteta's substitutions. I don't think we should have taken off another defender or midfielder because Liverpool were looking dangerous. They were getting in behind regardless, so I was happy with the substitutions.
Would you have done Ben White instead of MLS though?
I would have brought on Ben White. I think he's having a really difficult season this year, and he struggled heavily on one-on-one defending. So I would have brought on Ben White. So if he's still injured for the next game, if Encampio's out, I want to see Timber and Ben White in the back line. But yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world. Liverpool were good. I just wasn't expecting a 0-0 draw because it's always goals in this game. But
I'm just going to say one more thing to the Arsenal fans out there. Every time we drop points, you don't need to lose your head, and every time we win a game, you don't need to go crazy. But at the end of the day, if you want to do you, you do you. I'm not going to stop you. Just don't stop me from being confident when my team is playing well.
Yeah, agree.
Look, I hear you. Look, as someone who wants Arsenal to win the league over Manchester City, and I say it like every real Man United fan should. It was disappointed you didn't win today. For me, I'd like you to get that 8-point gap because I think it would have made City just go away. It would have been like completely swatting the wasp.
Now, I know. Sorry, you keep going.
But now, the positive side to you not winning is it keeps the title race a little bit more alive, which means the games. That's the one thing about if you guys got 8, 10, 11 points clear, it then makes all the City and Arsenal games a little bit less meaningful. So as a content creator that loves the reactions to games like we've had tonight, so kind of happy from that regard. But I don't think this changes. It doesn't change my mind. It's still the favorite.
I've screwed up my last.
Man City's playing your team next. They're going to drop points, Terry. We know.
But then we have to play them. I
hope.
But I screwed up my last. I screwed up my last Star Wars analogy with this one. I've been practicing and I got it bang on because this is the moment in Star Wars episode 3 when Anakin and Obi-Wan were fighting on planet Mustafar. Today was the chance for us. You got Anakin on the ground. It's like, oh my God, I'm about to die. That was Man City, right? This was a chance for Obi-Wan to kill Anakin, his friend, whatever, but like Arteta and Pep, kill him off and not give him air. Now what's going to have to happen now is that they're going to get Semenyo and Gahey and come back like Darth Vader.
Hang on.
The rebellion does beat the Empire.
Hang on. But who were Arsenal in this? Because if it's Obi-Wan, Darth Vader kills Obi-Wan.
Oh, fuck.
You ruined it again. Oh, no. Darth Vader kills him in A New Hope.
I was thinking.
Anton, no.
Just stop the analogies. Stop with the analogies.
No.
So just a quick thing on how Liverpool played. I think we made the most of the fact that we didn't have a striker. and we controlled the game with the numerical superiority we had in midfield, and the fact that we were trying to get their defenders to drop off and create spaces that way, and potentially make openings, but it didn't really happen. So that's probably the main part of the reason why we controlled the game so well in the second half, is because we had that numerical advantage in that kind of midfield area. But the intention was to pull their defenders out of position, and the defenders, they stayed pretty disciplined. You could argue because that's all they know how to do. I think that's not an unfair thing to say. I think one of the things you noticed in the first half especially was that when one of the central midfield, usually Zubimendi, was dropping in between the centre-backs, we were mainly focused on covering Zubimendi and then relying on Gabriel and to a lesser extent Saliba. Because, look, Gabriel, he's a very, very good defender. He's very strong, area dominant. I think he's the better defender out of him and Saliba, without doubt. But if you're going to ask him to create opportunities and play make, he ain't that guy.
Yeah.
And his range of passing is not there. So in a way, we were saying, okay, if you're going to progress the ball through Gabriel, we're kind of happy with it. We'll take that risk. But defensively, they maintained their shape, and that's why we couldn't really create that many chances.
Yeah, it was just one of those games, and I've seen them before in title races. But people don't want to have those conversations. Robert here says, "Congrats, Liverpool, for destroying Arsenal 0-0 at the Emirates."
No, none of the Liverpool fans said that. Okay.
No, but the thing is, I think also a lot of people are taking what Liverpool fans are saying out of context when they talk about being proud. They've been a team that's been so easy to open up this season. To see their team have large periods of the game where they controlled it and they didn't look vulnerable is what they're happy about. It's like the United fans yesterday that were saying, it was so nice to actually see a team really try and win a game towards the end rather than sitting in.
What Liverpool fans are not doing, though, is behaving like Chelsea did at the end of that draw. And
the problem is for us, right? We can do that against Arsenal. I don't think we can play this way. I don't know who our next game is against, but say our next game is against, I know we played Fulham last week, but if we were playing Fulham again tomorrow, we can't really play this way against Fulham. It won't work. So
I agree.
It's okay for an isolated game. What are we going to do moving forward?
Carl here says, before you go, Frimpong penalty. What do you make, Rak, as a Liverpool fan?
I mean, I'd take it if it was given, but I'd be screwing if it went against me, screwing.
My view on all the penalty shouts tonight were, I think they'll all have been soft, but I also think if any of them were given in real time, VAR wouldn't have overturned them. They're in that weird little category. The one that I was I'd love to ask Howard Webb about is how comes the accidental trip on Martinelli isn't a foul in the box, but you've admitted that Ruben Diaz should have had a yellow card for exactly the same thing, and you gave Semenyo a yellow card for the exact same thing the other day. Completely accidental, but yet that would just go a higher threshold in the penalty box.
I actually would have given a pen for both.
All right. Okay.
I thought both of them should have been a pen.
I think the Wirtz bomb was a penalty. I thought we got away with that one, to be honest.
Yeah. I was shouting like, Trossard, you got away with that. Why aren't you taking a Trossard?
He proper shoved him over. That was
should have been down to 10 men.
He got nowhere near the ball as well. So it's like, I know he's not going anywhere, but he has fully shoved him over. So
I thought it was least a penalty. But then
I thought they were both pens. They were both pens for me. I think Anthony Taylor had a shocking one today. He was very inconsistent all around.
I hear that.
The fact that Trossard actually got booked for the yellow that he did, which I thought was very minimal, but then didn't get booked for the penalty shout, I thought was
that was a clear. We were on the break there, and he pulled it back. That's a yellow card every day.
That is a stonewall.
He stopped the counter attack.
Yeah, I agree.
It was early in the game, and I can understand why you might feel a bit aggrieved by it. But if you're stopping a counter attack, it's a yellow card. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to thank everyone.
Performance. So anyway,
I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show tonight. Please make sure you hit the like button before you go if you haven't done so already. You may not have got the result you wanted tonight for your teams, but support the terrace. Thank you to our super chatters, to everyone in the comments, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, challenge, or if you're just sitting back at home, chilling out and watching it and enjoying it. Thank you for being here. We're back tomorrow. We've got the Done Deal show in the morning, plus Straight Facts in the afternoon as we build up for the return of the best cup competition in the world, the FA Cup. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we're going to see you all again soon. Peace.